It's almost like Butcher and I are having a battle for the soul of Ryan. You know, is he going to go the light or the dark? Although Butcher's a serial killer, so just say.
In the season 4 trailer, we saw that Homelander makes a reference to Caesar. And when he talks about masses and power, is it a nod to the character's destiny? In what sense? Because history lovers and fans of The Boys start making like...
connections?
Yeah.
So I think, first of all, I think Homelander, I think his knowledge of history is broad brushstrokes. I don't think he's a details guy. And so he knows there was a dude called Caesar that ruled. I don't know that he would know that much more about the ins and outs of the Republic and blah, blah, blah. You know, the wants of the character have always been the same. He wants more power. He's got a voracious appetite for power and ascension. And he wants connection. He wants to be loved. And I think that is why that quote came up. That's because Caesar was both of those things, depending on who you are.
You're all fucking welcome.
Hi.
Oh, hi. Victoria will be the most important character in season 4. I think so.
Intense.
And it's because you connect the story we saw this three season with GMB. But in this new season, you also have a new relationship, alliance with Homelander, which is a person you must not trust. How do you think will be the danger of these islands for Victoria?
I mean, I think nobody should trust Homelander. I think that's a horrible decision from the get-go. And I don't think Victoria Newman trusts Homelander at all. And I understand that she is a character that kind of like weaves her way into like the boys' realm and then the superhero, and she's kind of like sneaking in everywhere.
She's a snake.
Sneaking in everywhere. I think that the decisions she's made in season 3 will heavily impact her in season 4, and not necessarily in a great way. But that's just her lesson to learn. I think she's doing a lot on her own this season, and I think previously she's had, Stan Edgar with her and kind of pulling the strings, and we see her released from that, but also dealing with her own shortcomings and dealing with a lot of stuff that she's probably blocked out and compartmentalized, but I think it all comes to a head and she can't really keep anything down anymore or pretend that nothing bad is happening.
Kimiko's relationship with Frenchie has become a fundamental thing on the plot and The Boys. What do you think will be the pros and cons of this relationship on the 4th season?
The 4th season, Frenchie and Kimiko are going through it. It's not bubbles and all the fun that we've been having, although traumatic as well. But I feel like throughout the first 3 seasons, the characters were coming together. In a way, they like start off on opposite ends, and then he's kind of showing her the way, and they meld together beautifully. Season 4, you're gonna see them go through a lot of stuff on their own. Like, I think they're both trying to figure out their past traumas, and they're not really doing it together all the time. And so the duo that you always see and love, I hope, is kind of, I don't know.
Erin, in the season 3 finale, Annie leaves Starlight's costume to join The Boys. What do you think will be the consequences for her about this decision? Because I understand that she wants not to be a superhero anymore, but at the same time, she has more popularity now.
Yeah, it's funny because It's really about the consequences that she's going to be facing more so on an internal front, which we've not seen her take on as much. We have, but there's been so much flying at her circumstantially that it's mostly been a necessity for her to confront these things, the consequences externally when it comes to like situations and her dynamics with certain characters, like her dynamic with Homelander or the Deep or any of those people that she is, you know, at the end of all of this, going to be dealing with, no matter what happens, some serious trauma, and she is going to be dealing with the repercussions of that trauma in season 4. It feels like for the first time the consequences are manifesting in an internal emotional turbulence that she has no control over, and it feels like it is inhibiting her from doing her job potentially, and that is, I think, the scariest prospect she's ever had to face, because she's been able to maintain her composure to a degree where it's never disinhibited her from doing her job. And whether it does ultimately or doesn't, I can't say because I don't know, but I will say that that is probably the most terrifying prospect that she has ever had to face, ever. Is I have tried so hard up until now to grip this wheel so tightly to steer this boat in the right direction, and I'm about to crash it, and it could be my own fault because I am so unable to transcend the trauma that nobody would be able to transcend. But she, like all of us, she's her own worst enemy and her own harshest critique. So it's all internal consequences, and those are the hardest, I think, that we'll ever see her have to contend with.
Come on. I do not want to miss Smash Mouth.
In the last season, we saw you like having this connection with your son Ryan, and we know that Ryan will have more scenes in this new season.
Sure.
How do you think this will help or hurt Homelander?
Well, that all started at the end of season 1, right? The end of season 1 when he turned up and said hi and wanted to play dad, and in season 2 it developed more, but he didn't know how to be a good dad. The thing that's always been is like, it's almost like Butcher and I are having a battle for the soul of Ryan. You know, he's like Anakin Skywalker, was it?
Yeah.
Turned into Darth Vader.
Yes, exactly.
Showing my ignorance, but I think it was, you know, so it's that battle of good, is he gonna go the light or the dark? Although Butcher's a serial killer, so just saying. So the kid, Cameron is great. I love that in season 4 we do expand on that relationship and flesh it out, and the kid's growth, the character's growth is really enjoyable and really interesting. And as a part of that, as his father trying to get it right, makes for some pretty interesting moments. But I mean, this is going to be a lot easier to talk about when the show's out. But
Right.
But you know, all of these things, there's a lot of themes for Homelander that have been that have started actually in day 1, but particularly in season 2, started getting established and growing, and they really go to some strange places in season 4.
Well, in the last season, we saw that Deep seems to be more confrontational with Homelander. Like, he seems like has the same value. And
Right.
how will you describe the relationship that will exist between you two in this new season?
I think, yeah, you're right. I think the testing continues. There's sort of the loyalty litmus test of where we're at. I think it's also maybe fun for Homelander in some way to sort of like, you know, tool him around a bit to see what he can push him around a bit to see what he can do. For me, yeah, in season 3 at the end, he crossed that big line, right, and murdered the guy, and so, you know, he's kind of, I think, going to be on a more, you know, of an exploration of like, who am I in relation to Homelander, and what can I do to appease him to continue to do that, and also, can I exert this power over people that I don't really know I have? This assertiveness and sort of like bowing up in a way in certain moments. So I think the arc's good in this new season. Yeah, it's great.
Okay, well, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Your team. What's your code name again?
The boys.
Oof. Who came up with that shit?